Once you start receiving the feedback, a new challenge appears. Too much input? Everyone has an opinion, but not all of them are useful. You see, some feedback clarifies direction, while some feedback distracts it. The key isn't listening to everything, but is listening for the right things. So today, we're breaking down how to hear feedback clearly without losing focus and your confidence. Let's talk about it right after this.
Educate, empower, enable, impact. Thank you for tuning in to That Will Never Work, an award-winning podcast where we share inspiring information and personal experiences related to business and the entrepreneurial journey from those who are leaders in their respective field. Now, here's your host, author and business coach, Maurice.
What's going on, everyone? What's going on? So, when you receive the feedback, do you know what you're actually listening for? And sometimes, as we are receiving the feedback, we become a little more defensive. Our ego can get in the way. And at times, if we don't hear something that's favorable, we get a little turned off. And that feedback can come from your clients. That feedback can also come from your supervisor. That feedback can also come from your best friend. There's multiple ways of getting that feedback. But right now we're talking about it in a more corporate setting. And so I would like for you to think about it like this, that the feedback can reveal patterns, but not instructions. See, when we think about external feedback, I want you to think about it like this, that is not a to-do list, but is really data that you're collecting. And when the same comment, it keeps showing up from different sources, I need you to pay attention, because that points to an opportunity for improvement or to refine your process. Also, I would like for you to consider emotion, because your emotion signals experience, but it's not always accuracy. And so strong emotional feedback often reflects how someone felt, not necessarily what needs fixing. So wise individuals, word to the wise, and I believe you might have heard me say this on this show, the word to the wise, right? Those people that are wise acknowledge emotion without letting it override the strategy. And feelings provide context, not direction. And also the role, a customer, a colleague, a leader, they see different parts of you, and their feedback reflects just that. As strategic people, they weigh the feedback based on the perspective and the proximity of the source. So that is very key. So you might have heard me express, me and my supervisor and I, as she's conducting some weekly updates for me, about me, around me, as I'm getting my it was held every Wednesday, and it really kept me on track. What happens is that at times, again, because of the day, because of the hour, because of the season, sometimes you just don't feel like it. And so while you're in your review, you may not be understanding. You may not had the wherewithal to withstand what feels like a barrage of punches because of how you feel at that time. But we also need to understand that as we are listening to what's going on, if we can just pull back our emotion at that time, can we actually see what this person is actually saying? I gave you, an idea, because if everything was perfect scenario, perfect situation, yeah, you might be able to just take on that information and keep it moving. But some of us, we can't do that. So, or we have not had the opportunities to do that because it feels like something is always going on. Something's always in the way. Always, always, always. And so, if we could understand from that person's perspective, which I speak to my wife about it often, that if, can she see it because of the position that she holds in her place of employment, can she see when she makes a statement, a comment, has a concern, whatever it is, can she see it? Does she see it only from her eyes, or can she see it from her employees' eyes? And that's one of the things that I try to do myself, is take a look at it from the other person's perspective. Also, the proximity of that individual. How close are they to you? To not just to you, but to the situation. So there was one corporate job that I had where even though I was getting some feedback from my supervisor, but my supervisor wasn't always on top of what I had to do because she did not understand when it was time for me to do reports in Excel. Well, at that particular time, starting off with doing an Access database, then doing Excel stuff, whatever it is. And so she did not understand the computer stuff. She was a nurse. She was like, listen, I'm going to be in my position. You be in your position. And as long as you get this stuff done for me, Maurice, I'm okay. So sometimes the proximity, can be a distraction as well, because if she said, hey, Maurice, this report was late or whatever, and I'm like, hey, well, the computers were doing updates, or the formulas just were not formulating. I was missing a step, missing an asterisk, a comma, a parenthesis, something. Sometimes because of, again, we could be in our emotion, we're not always understanding where that feedback is coming from. And so what we need to consider is that unfiltered feedback, unfiltered, because she was, could be a little direct at times, it can lead to confusion and second guessing, especially of yourself. Second guessing whether or not you're doing the right thing, or second guessing whether or not you should be in this position, second guessing if I should even honor the request, whatever it is. And so this matters because those of us who listen strategically, and we can kind of work through the minutia a little bit, we gain clarity. You can improve your performance and maintain confidence while adapting intelligently. See, the feedback, it can really strengthen you. It could be more powerful, and when you know how to interpret it. See, when you listen for the patterns instead of pressure, growth stays focused. And so I would like for you to review any recent feedback you might have received recently, like real recent, and identify one recurring theme worth addressing. Because again, patterns happen. And in that, I'm gonna leave you with this. See, in my corporate space, not everyone not understanding what was always required of you to fill your job, even as an entrepreneur, everyone's not always aware of what it is to fulfill your obligations and how to do this and that or whatever it is. Unfortunately, you do develop a pattern that's comfortable and you feel like it's going to get you to another place. But if someone else sees that it's actually a way of having excuses, it has also changed your attitude towards situations and things because that is a pattern. Just listen to the feedback and continue to move forward. I appreciate you listening today, and I'll talk to you just a little bit later.
Thanks for listening. Follow Maurice Chisholm on social media to stay connected and check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, that will never work. Or will it?